right, welcome back. It's an SYP pod with your favorite creators? Question mark. Ian McNaughton here. Pleased to be joined by SYP creator Scotty K. Scotty, where do you think you rank on the list of SYP creators?
Well, again, there's the best and then there's the favorite. I think those are two different categories. Again, I would say we do the most work.
Yes.
I think we do the most work, but that doesn't make us the favorite creator. I think some of our guests have been amazing, and dare we call them creators, but I think we've got some creators up there. So that's maybe a SYP poll question, or we'll have to see.
When I start posting more content again, I'll make that a poll. It's like, which creators do you like the most? And then all of a sudden people are just going to vote for Corey. And it's just like, okay, sure. Yeah. That's fair enough.
Hey, he got us the SYP Open, the ability to do the SYP Open last year. So we'll have to better thank him for that one. But maybe we can run it back this year. Who knows?
Maybe. I'm not saying no, not saying yes. Might be pushed back a little bit later than usual.
Yeah, than usual, yeah.
We can make it work. Last year was, maybe that's why we got to do the Open, was because it was pissing rain. And there was someone else there. Yeah,
it helped a bit. That was a lot of bit rainy for my liking, but
yeah, that's definitely definitely would have been rain delayed if it was a PGA Tour. There definitely would have been somebody with sirens or air horns blowing that down. Yeah. Scott, you're here not to talk about the SYP Open, although we might be doing that again. You're here to talk about the NHL playoffs because as we record this, it was Sunday, May 1st, 2022. Surprisingly, we made it that far. And we are a day away from the NHL playoffs starting once again. We have 8 series that we're going to go. I think we'll go through each of them individually. Do you want to power rank? I think we should power rank the series first.
I think it's a good call. Or maybe, I think we should do that. I think it's good.
So what we're going to do, I'm deciding on the fly right now. What we're going to do, we're going to power rank each series from 8 to 1.
Yep.
And we'll go through each series individually when we power rank them.
Sure.
I think there's, we could, going by a tier system, I think there's like 3 great series, 5 total good series, and some of them are like okay.
I agree with that. Yeah. I think the numbers might be a bit different on my end, but so far, just kind of looking at it right now, there's about 5, well, maybe 4 that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna definitely sit down and watch at least one of these games, because it'll be an absolute war. And one of them might surprise you, actually, believe it or not.
Okay, so what do we think is the worst first round match? My vote would be Calgary Dallas.
That's the worst first round matchup.
I think it's Calgary Dallas might be the worst first round
matchup. I'm gonna go, just to be different, I'm gonna go Florida Washington.
Oh no, that series.
You think that's a good one?
I think that's actually a good one.
Really interesting.
Okay. So we'll do it your way. Maybe what we should have done is like draft first round series.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
All right, let's draft. So let's start with this then. Which one is your favorite series? Which is the best series? Number 1 series?
I'll
let you have the first pick.
Sure, okay. First overall pick goes to Western Conference Central Division 2 versus 3, Minnesota versus St. Louis.
Okay.
The number 1 overall series.
All right, so let's go through that one. I just learned that Minnesota is a top 5 team in the NHL in terms of I believe wins or points.
Wins. Well, both probably, but
the Minnesota Wild, a team I have thought not so little, but a team I have not thought that much of to begin with.
Right.
Like, I think they have a really good star in Kirill Kaprizov. I think they have a pretty good decor. Marc-Andre Fleury is, you would think, the presumptuous number 1 starter.
There's argument there, but yeah, I would go there.
You traded for him. You kind of have to roll a
You
flurry,
kind of have to go, yeah. And with Cup experience, he's got a few Stanley Cup victories, 3.
Mhm.
Not that he was a big part in all 3 of them, but he, has 3 cups to his name. So you gotta go with him. I think you have to.
So their opponent, the St. Louis Blues, a team who I've been singing their praises because the Blues. I'm singing their
Yeah,
praises.
you've been singing the blues. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. Okay.
That one landed. That was good. Don't worry.
All right. Thank you. St. Louis is a team I really like. They have playoff experience. I don't know what the actual I think most of that team from that 2019 Cup team is still on the you have the goaltenders. I
Yep.
guess not. Maybe not. You have Bennington, not Husso.
Yep.
Ryan O'Reilly, Tarasenko, Kyrou, Robert Thomas.
Kyrie wasn't quite playing yet. He was close.
He was
still
getting some healthy scratches, I believe, wasn't he? He was getting some fourth
Yeah,
line.
but Robert Thomas was a big part of that team throughout the Cup run. They just and again,
Colton
like
Parayko.
Parayko is really good. Some of their defense core is gone. It's just kind of shifted a bit, like Pietrangelo, Bouwmeester, and what was the other guy I had in mind? Those are the 2 big names that came to mind that are not there anymore. Braden Shen forward, but he's still around. So their forward core, as you mentioned, is still intact from 2019. It's more their defense core has kind of just shifted and changed a bit. Like
instead of Pietrangelo, it's now here's Torrey
Justin
Krug.
Torrey Krug.
Or Justin Falk.
Yep.
2 very good players in their own right.
Exactly.
This has the feeling of a 7-game heavy bruising series between.
This is going to be a war. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute war. And whoever, we'll get to that series later, but whoever comes out of this is going to have a real hard time dealing with who they play against in the second round. Just because they're going to beat the shit out of each other. Let's be real.
Probably. And, I think these are both 2 coaches who don't mind beating the shit out of one another. They'll do whatever. Both of these teams have will do whatever it takes to win type vibes. When you hear in wrestling about how when it's like, oh, this guy will do whatever it takes to win, and then he just throws a chair on somebody, or
right?
Or
that happens every wrestling match, though, doesn't it?
Sure, but it's this guy isn't this guy is willing to do anything it takes to win. That's what I get maybe more the Blues. I think I compared the Blues to more of a a heel team, like a villain type. People I think like Minnesota. Do people like Minnesota
in this series or just in general?
I think in general, I think people like the Blue or like the Wild more than they like the Blues.
I disagree with that. I like the Blues more personally, but okay. I think the general consensus is the Wild are a more likable team because outside of Kaprizov, there's not really any star powered talent. You kind of have to root for a team that is underdogs, right? So you kind of got to appreciate that. And I respect what the Wild do. I just think I like the Blues more personally, and they're better built for the playoffs.
I like the Blues in this series. The Blues are a team I would definitely put money on to make a cup run as a dark horse.
As a dark horse, yeah. Yeah.
I think they have basically what it takes, for a playoff team to do well.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it, but basically they have 3 really good lines, arguably 4 if you really want to go deep. I think three good forward lines, really tough D-men. If you're not dealing with Falk or Krug, you're dealing with Colton Parayko.
Yeah, Parayko and Scandella. It's pretty.
Parayko and Scandella. That's also not fun.
That's no. And I love Parayko's game. He's such a playoff player. I think you see the guy just running people over with a smile on his face. You just gotta love it. Yeah, I think you mentioned. I like the Blues in 7 games. It's gonna be an absolute war, and it really this is why I picked this series first because it really could go either way, and it'll be a war. But I think the Blues will end up taking it in 7 games.
Minnesota wins this series by having better goaltending and
Kaprizov doesn't get shut down.
yeah.
He's the engine of that team. Again, that Kaprizov, I think it's Kaprizov, Hartman, and Zuccarello, that line. They're nice. And Eriksson Ek's a really good defensive center down kind of in their depth. They're really the Wild are a solid team, and I'm not going to discredit them what they're going to do, and because I have them losing this series, but man, I can't go against the Blues, who have Cup experience, who have been on some deeper runs in the last 4 or 5 years with a core that's pretty well intact and some young guys coming up. Watch out for Kyrou because I think he's kind of slept on by a lot of people. I think he's going to go nuts in the playoffs.
I like it. Blues in 7. Blues in 7. Yeah.
Yep. Who's your pick?
So
for next series,
I think the second best series.
Yep.
I actually think this is maybe the best series, but I'm happy to get this series at the second pick. Is Tampa Bay and Toronto.
I was gonna pick them next. Yeah, that's
and I know we talk about how we talk about Toronto all the time. I think that's the biggest first round storyline. Is if the Leafs can get over the first round, if they can advance.
And they got to beat the back-to-back champs.
And you have to beat the best team in the last 2 years to do so.
Yeah.
This is arguably the best Leafs team of my lifetime that I've ever seen.
Agreed. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, are they ever?
And the fact that they have to go up against Tampa in the first round, it's kind of hilarious.
It is Tampa Bay, don't get me wrong. It is Tampa Bay, but this is not the same Tampa Bay from the last 2 years. This is a different team from the last couple years, in my opinion. There's still this Tampa Bay Lightning. They're still Stanley Cup champions. You can't sleep on the Lightning. But again, you said it, the Leafs, this is probably the best Leafs team since I was born. If not, yeah. Probably even back to 93, 92, 93 when they had some good runs. Yeah, it's dude, you're right. This could almost be the number one series. It probably should be, to be honest. But yeah, this is a nut series, and I don't know where it's gonna go. I really don't.
I don't. Again, it's a cliche. The X factor in this series for me is goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
It's
absolutely.
You have probably the best goalie in the NHL.
Vasilevsky. Oh, yeah. Just over a 5-10 year span. Agreed, definitely.
What goalie are you building your team around right now? Who's that goalie? Probably
Igor Shesterkin. But that's
okay. All right, fine.
We'll chat about him later.
We'll chat about him in a bit.
But no, Vaz is up there. He's going to be up there for sure.
Vaz is up there, and the fact that you have to go up against Vazzy, if you're the Leafs, and your own goalie is Jack Campbell, who's been okay.
Now, recently, he's been better.
He's had streaks. I don't like that. That's what really turns me off from the Maple Leafs. As cool as I think it would be to see them advance and win the series.
Yeah.
It's the goaltending. And I think that's not even the worst thing in the world. If you lose, let's say you lose to Tampa in 5, but you get goalied in 3 or 4 of the 5 games.
Yeah.
You're going up against Andrei Vasilevsky. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, it's going to be hard. And you're absolutely right. Again, you could argue this for every playoff series. Goaltending is really the X factor. But again, in this series, because of how strong Tampa's goaltending is, and because of how questionable, is that the right word, the Toronto goaltending situation has been, a lot of reliance is going to go on, Toronto and their ability to score. We know Tampa Bay can do it. It's a matter of can Matthews continue to produce like he has in the regular season? Arguable Hart Trophy candidate right there.
Well, that's what I think it is. I think you make a really good point about both of these teams' forward groups, really good. There's no questioning the forward groups. Both of these teams' defenses even are pretty good. Like when healthy, I think that both team defenses are really solid, really strong.
Yeah.
You get to the goaltending, it's like Vasi versus Campbell.
Bit of a mismatch, but again, Jack Campbell. Again, you mentioned he's been a little bit questionable, but again, when he's on, he's no slouch.
Mm-hmm.
He's because again, I think early season he was getting some Vezina love for a bit because I think he had like a 925-ish save percentage with a 2.10 goals against average, something along those lines. It was very good, like up there with Shesterkin and Vasilevsky and some of these other goalies that have been good. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I think the biggest thing I saw, the X factor is going to be the Leafs secondary scoring and the ability for a guy like Tavares to perform like he could and should, and Nylander if he can keep doing what he's doing, and because we know Matthews and Martin are going to score, barring the collapse.
You would think they didn't score last year, but maybe
You
this
would
is the
think.
year.
Maybe this year that Matthews actually goes nuts and starts to, puts in a goal a game in the playoffs kind of thing. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah. And I mean, the other Tampa Bay, as much as we credit them for being a skill team, they're not going to let Austin Matthews have his way.
No, God, no.
Like
those
dudes are going to get shoved, almost abused in the corners, in front of the net. Those dudes are going to take a beating for the first.
I gotta say that fourth line's pretty mean. That Belmar, Pat Maroon, Corey Perry line. It's kind of a nice fourth line. A bunch of veterans, but again, you could argue this too. The Leafs kind of have the same thing, right? They have a similar type of build of line, if you will, with Simmons and Spezza, and I think
Kyle Clifford.
Is it Clifford? Yeah, I think Clifford's probably going to play there a couple games in this series. But yeah, very interesting matchup. And I'm with you. It's probably the number one series because it's really hard to pick. I don't know.
Colin Blackwell, maybe is he going to be an unsung hero for the Leafs too?
Yeah, I think. Again, I mean, we talk about this every playoffs, but third and fourth lines are so critical to your success. And the Leafs and the Lightning, for that matter, both have very good third lines, third and fourth lines. So. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say Leafs in 7, but I'm not that confident in my answer, to be honest.
I'll say Lightning in 6.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think the longer you keep Tampa Bay in this series, the less likely Toronto wins. Because I think if you keep Tampa around and you keep the Lightning, in this series, you give them a reason to play, they're gonna make you pay for it.
Yeah. With their experience and how they are in closing games, I don't think they the last 2 years, every elimination game they've won basically. But like I said, Leafs. I'm gonna say Leafs in 7, but I'm not confident. It's going to take a hell of a performance from Matthews Marner to knock the champs off their pedestal. So
I think another interesting point that should be mentioned, the Leafs have home ice in this series.
Yes. 100%. That'll be huge. That's the first time I think since 2004 that they've had home ice.
I think so. Well, last year they had home ice, but
that's like
real home ice.
Real home ice. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels like for myself as well. This is it's like betting Tom Brady. Like I'm not gonna go against him unless I see otherwise.
Right.
And that's what I see with the Lightning. Like I'm not gonna go against the Lightning until I see a reason not to.
Yeah, interesting.
So
there you go. Well, I say Leafs in 7. You got Lightning in 6.
Yeah, there we go.
It's a good series, though. I like that.
One of us is either going to look really right and really stupid, or the other one's going to look really right or really stupid.
Yep.
Okay, Scott.
Yes.
What is the third best first round series?
Oh, third best. I don't know. I think I might have to go back into the Western Conference. This is the one that might surprise you. I'm going to say Colorado-Nashville.
Okay.
Is, again, this based on a purely outside look, just looking at it once, you're like, Scott, you're joking. Like, there's no way this is a good series. But hold on, if it was Colorado Dallas, it'd be very different. They would probably be one of the last series, and then another series would be in this place. But Colorado Nashville is my pick, and here's why. Let me tell you why.
Can I just say,
Great.
UC Saros, I don't think is going to play any first round action.
Oh, he's not.
I think he's injured. I don't think he's going to be in the first round.
Oh, I did not know that. That must have just been recently.
I think it was like within like the last few days.
Okay, then I'm gonna change my vote on that.
I here's the thing. I was with you. Like Colorado Nashville would have been a top 4 series for me if UC Saros was playing.
100%.
I totally see where you're going with that logic.
Yeah. Anyways, so I'm gonna stay. I'll still stay with that pick, and so we can talk about it. Yeah, he has a high ankle sprain, out 4 to 6 weeks. So he'll be gone.
In his place, potentially Big Save Dave Riddick,
yeah.
or former Kamloops Blazer Connor Ingram.
And just Nashville pumps out so many good goalies and defensemen. It's unbelievable. And that's kind of where I'm going with this whole bit, is that the Dallas Stars would have been destroyed by the Avalanche in 4 games. That's what it would have been. The Avalanche are unbelievable, and the Stars are, well, not that good. However, Nashville a little bit different. Although they're a wild card team, and they were actually the second wild card seed in the conference, they, for whatever reason, they just seem to be able to pump out, like I mentioned, good defensemen, good goaltending, and they're pretty well coached, and they're hard to score on, as seen in the last couple years. And again, having UC Saros is a great goalie. Dave Riddick's a great backup as well. So hopefully he does enough, maybe like a Anton Hudobin type of deal. Who knows? But again, it's going to be tough with the Avalanche, as good as they are, and they don't really need introduction. They don't.
Yeah, if I was selling this series, I'd say you have the two Norris candidates.
Yep, Yossi Makar.
You have. I mean, Colorado has a plethora of offensive talent, but Nate McKinnon versus Philip Forsberg.
Sure.
And bounce back years for your boy Matt Duchene and Ryan Johansson.
Yeah, huge, especially definitely big bounce back years. And there was talk last year about one of those guys going to the Kraken. Preds managed to keep both somehow, and it's really paid off because again, Duchene's Duchene was 40 goals or close to 35.
I think he had 80 points. Like I think he was almost a point per game player this year.
Pretty close to point per game. And again, that Duchene, I think it was Duchene, Granlund, and Forsberg was their top line. So good, such a good line. And again, the Predators, like we mentioned, so good defensively. Yossi had 96 points as a defenseman, which is ridiculous.
Insane.
Like in our lifetime, that hasn't been done. I think the last person that did it was Phil Housley. Maybe in the 90s.
I think that's about right. Paul Coffey, Paul Coffey might have
got Paul Coffey in the early to late 90s. Yeah, but again, he's just such a dynamic force, and yeah.
So Yossi 96 points this year. Matt Duchene 86 points. Philip Forsberg 84 points. Third highest scorer on Nashville this year. Mikhail Granlund 64 points. Ryan Johansson, 63 points. Tanner Jeannot,
rookie.
Tanner Jeannot, the rookie, the name to know, he had 41 points this year with the Preds. I don't think Nashville's going to win. I think it'd be really cool if they did. I don't think they are. This kind of reminds me of like Colorado, St. Louis last year, where like Colorado and St. Louis was closer
Yep.
If you watch the games, it was a pretty close series. It's just the Blues could keep up with Colorado for 40 minutes. They couldn't keep up with Colorado for 60 minutes.
For 60 minutes, yeah.
And that's what I see this series. Like, I think Nashville will be good for like 30, 40 minutes against Colorado. They won't be good for 60 minutes.
No, I agree with that. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens because now there's no Saros in net because he would have been a huge, huge factor because I think he could have stolen 2 games maybe, or he has the means to steal at least 2. And again, if the Preds can get some inkling of scoring, they might have had a better chance. It would have maybe gone to 6 games, but it's going to be Colorado in 5 just because of the goaltending situation and how dominant the Avalanche are, especially on their back end, their defense. Oh, it's just it blows my mind how good they are. And when a physical bruising Josh Manson is your arguably 6th defenseman and Bowen Byram's not on your top pair, like it's absurd.
Yeah, I was watching them play St. Louis the other night. It's like, yeah, here's Eric Johnson and Josh Manson.
Yep.
Have fun.
Have fun with those 2, and then
on your third D pair.
Yeah, have fun with it. And then you've got and then after you roll those guys out for only about 15 minutes a night, you're gonna see Makar and Taves for about 27, 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Night in the playoffs. Like, good luck.
Have fun with that, idiots.
The biggest question mark for the Avalanche, though,
is Kemper.
Is Kemper. Yeah, and again, I think it'll be fine in the first round, but when they get a team, when they get to the second, third, fourth round, when they get a Calgary Flames, when they get a Oilers possibly, when they get
possibly St. Louis in the second round, if they maybe have to face that offensive juggernaut, but like 9 players deep St. Louis forward group.
Yeah, it's gonna be who knows? And again, I think O'Reilly is one of the few centers in the league that can actually properly shut down McCann.
Yeah,
I think he's one of them. I would put Couturier up there, and even like Philip Deneau, or even Kopitar, the guys in LA, and we'll talk about those guys later. But the Avalanche are going to win 5. It's just more of a question is, will they get past the third round or past the second round for that matter, and into the conference final? Who knows?
I'll take Colorado in 4.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Nashville win a game. I think it'd be cool. I think Nashville is deserving to win a game for how they've done it. Like, Nashville's season, I don't think deserves to be ended by getting swept by Colorado, but I think that's just kind of what's going to happen here.
Yeah, unfortunately with everything that's happened. And can I say before we move on to the next series, that Nashville Calgary game, that was game of the year right there.
Bruising. That was a playoff game.
That was a playoff game right there. That honestly, that would have been, not gonna lie, would have been my first pick for playoff series had that been an actual series. That would have been my first pick straight up. Like, that would have been unbelievable how good that would have been. So
oh well.
What could have been?
My number 4 pick, I think the 4th best series in the first round. You were kind of critical of it earlier, but I'm going to say it's Florida-Washington.
Okay, I want to hear why you think this. I have some good reasons why it won't be, but
I think the first reason, Florida, I think, is the ultimate bandwagon team.
Oh, 100%.
I think Florida is like, it has everything you want in a bandwagon team. So I think casuals or people who are on the fence, or people who don't want to root for the Stars, and Stars fans who don't want to root for Dallas, they could just go root for Florida. And why wouldn't you? They have everything. Florida literally has everything in turn.
Yeah.
No,
they do.
Skilled forwards, check. Depth forwards, check. Awesome I don't know if Ekblad, what the deal is with him.
Ekblad's gonna be back.
Okay.
He'll be back.
Defense. Anyways, defense. They traded a first for Ben Sherratt. They have defense. But my thing with Florida is that they are the ultimate bandwagon team. People can get behind them. There's a lot to like. They score more than anybody. Like I think they averaged like 5.5 expected goals per game this year.
That sounds right. I think they
And that's just Florida. That's not like
yeah,
total team. That's Florida who's expected to score 5.5 goals a game.
it's ridiculous.
So that's kind of why I like Florida. And Washington, it's Alex Ovechkin.
This is how many goals they score per game.
Yeah.
4.1. Yeah.
They're scoring over 4 goals a game in today's NHL.
To be fair, scoring is way up just across the league, but still.
It's still an impressive number. And they have Alex Barkov, Jonathan Huberdeau. Mason Marchment is another name that like people have been sleeping on this year. Claude Giroux. They went out and got Claude Giroux.
Yeah. Oh, and let's not forget they have Barkov 2.0, Anton Lundell on their third line.
Who
on their third line is a rookie.
Who would like if it wasn't such a stacked Calder, race this year.
He could win it.
He could win it, but in most years, Antoine Lindell would probably win the Calder if it wasn't so loaded this year.
Agreed.
So that's what I like about Florida. Washington, the goaltending stinks. The Capitals really just exist to get Ovi over the all-time goals record, and that's it. They're not like.
Yeah.
That's the big, like, they got Ovi's cup. They would love a cup. They probably, they would love it, but I think at the same time it would be more impressive. Like for them, they want Ovi to break the record more than anything else.
I agree. I will say this is the Panthers series to lose. And that's kind of why I didn't love this series as a whole. You can't I love Ovechkin. It's hard to sleep on Ovi. He's gonna him and the Capitals will probably get a game or two out of the Panthers, but the Panthers will handle this series pretty well. I think it'll be Panthers in 6. And some of the games won't be close.
Well, that's what I'm kind of interested to see from an entertainment perspective. Washington definitely has the, like, if things don't go well for them, if they get blown out, they're going to start fights with Florida. Like they're going to, if you can't beat them up.
Beat them up, yeah.
That's the vibe I get from Washington. Yeah. And I think we'll see like 2 of those games. At the end of it, just go to absolute hell because players are brawling.
My one question mark and kind of one concern with the Panthers is their, I don't want to say toughness, because Noah Acciari is a pretty tough customer. And they got some guys like Uyghur. I would not want to fight Mackenzie Uyghur. And a couple other guys too. But just overall, like you look at a guy like Wilson, you look at Nick Dowd, you look at Garnet Hathaway on the Capitals, like some of these big bruisers that are going to cause fits on the forecheck against Ekblad if he'll be back probably for game 1 or 2. Ekblad, Gustav Forsling, very underrated defenseman, but a little bit of a smaller guy. So picture 6'3" Tom Wilson taking a run at Forsling, and he might not get up. So to your point, if it gets out of hand quick, who knows? But and again, let's not forget the freight train that Ovi is running over. Well, anybody.
Ovi's gonna lay out somebody in this series. I don't know who it is. He's gonna lay out somebody.
Every series. Again, I just have this vision. Well, a couple of them. Like the one time he hit Yager in the Olympics, like that was now 12 years ago, or even like
well, I was gonna say when he fought Svechnikov.
That was a good one too. Yeah, that was a good fight.
Like I don't know. I think Florida is probably gonna win this in 5. Yeah. I think Washington probably wins a game at home. Florida's the better team. Like you say, they should win. Florida, I think, will score a bunch of goals. Washington will get a game. They'll beat up Florida. They'll try to a couple times. And it'll be an entertaining first-round matchup.
Yeah, fair enough. And Florida, and yeah, they'll win.
And Florida should win. Unfortunately, Ovechkin's goals that he scores in a playoff don't count to the regular season goals. So like,
But neither did Gretzky's, so it's okay.
neither did Gretzky's.
Yeah.
How far is Ovi off now? Because now that the season's over, I'm gonna search that up here.
Well, he got to 50 goals this year, which is unbelievable. If he does it again and plays 2 or 3 more seasons after, then he'll get close, if not at it.
I think you might be right here. So apparently, Ovi had 780. He's just at 780.
Yep.
Gretzky has 894. Howe is 801.
801, yeah. So he's got 21 goals to get to Howe's number.
So he should beat that next year, you would think.
You would think so. Oh yeah.
And then he's got 114 to Gretzky.
Yeah, and again,
that's not impossible.
No, that's doable. Because again, let's say, for example, he goes 50 goals next year, 40 goals the year after, 30 goals the year after, he'll be there easily.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's the fourth best series for my money is Florida Washington.
Washington, I like it.
Scott, you're on the board here with the fifth best series. We're getting into the bottom half now.
Yeah, we are. I'm gonna go Rangers Penguins is my next best series here. Yeah. And again, had the Nashville Calgary series been a thing, this whole bracket would have been thrown into a blender. But just because of how things are, Rangers Penguins moves up a bit for me, and I do like this series, and it's not one I'm gonna really watch all that much because there's other better series on and around. But man, when you got the Penguins, Crosby, Malkin, Letang there, and you're going against an upstart, and we're talking upstart New York Rangers team. Who knows? I do like the Rangers in the series. I will say I think they're gonna come out on top, but we'll see.
Doesn't this feel like the Rangers series to lose?
It kind of does. It actually does. You're right. No, it really does.
Like the Rangers have the best goalie.
Yep.
They have better defensemen than Pittsburgh. I feel like if the Rangers are healthy.
If you go 1-to-1, compare their top guy to Pittsburgh, and you work your way down the list, every Rangers top guy is better.
Yeah. And don't we kind of want the Rangers to do well more than the Penguins?
Yes and no. Again, I don't think the Penguins are going to go to the Cup this year. I don't think there's a chance. It'd be really cool to see Crosby win a fourth.
Well, that's just kind of what I'm saying. I think that's kind of a repetitive storyline that I think people are kind of done with. Is not done with, but we've seen Crosby and Malkin win their cups.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. And there's definitely a lot of truth to that. And I think the Rangers being as upstart as they are and kind of a changing in the guard, if you will, I don't think they have anyone left from their the year they went to the 2014 Cup. Maybe Kreider.
Kreider, I think, is the only guy.
I think he's the only guy left from those Cup runs.
And he was still offsides then.
Yeah, well, I mean, he wasn't offside this year at 50 goals, so shout out to Kreider. But
50 and 22. He had 50 goals in the year 2022. It's insane.
Yeah, we'll see that trending on Twitter here soon.
Yeah.
But no, I think the Rangers are gonna win the series. They got an unbelievable top six, in my opinion. I really like their top six, and now that Lafreniere has kind of done what he's supposed to do, more so, it just makes that top six even more scary. And yeah, dude, Panarin's so sick.
Did Panarin have the quietest? Did he have 100 points this year? That might be the quietest 100 points. Panarin got 96.
Still pretty damn close. He had 74 assists, 22 goals.
You know who I'm seeing on this scoring list? Who I'm who I've heard is making some noise is Andrew Copp. who
For the Rangers, yeah.
like he's a guy who got traded from Winnipeg to the Rangers. And I
Yep.
think if I remember correctly, it was like a pretty fair deal for like both sides. And like they got an extra, like Winnipeg got a draft pick for him. And Copp is just gonna be like Copp definitely is like a playoff guy.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah.
He's a guy who's like, yeah, if we're gonna go on a run, you go get Andrew Copp. And the Rangers have kind of been building like their roster like that since going back to last year. Like they got like
looking at it, I think. Well, I mean, first of all, Copp and Panarin have unbelievable chemistry to start, right? I think
yeah,
that's what's been huge. And again, I think they have Strome in the middle of the three.
I think you're right.
Yeah, that's been their pseudo second line. That's their second line with Panarin. And their first line, I'm pretty sure, is Zibanejad, Kreider, and Lafreniere, I believe, is their first line. And just show you how good their forward group is in New York. It is ridiculous. It actually is.
Well, like the Rangers who have been building kind of this playoff roster, shall we say, with Ryan Reeves.
Yep.
Barclay Goodrow.
Oh yeah.
Now Copp.
Yep. Tyler Mott as well, I mentioned.
Tyler Boss, hot.
Yeah.
You know, Mott Girl Summer taking place in New York.
I don't know if he's going to play that much in the playoffs, but he's still a really good depth piece in case someone gets injured, right? So
he's a guy you want on your. He's a guy you want playing for you in the playoffs instead of having to go against.
Yeah, 100%.
Pittsburgh. I don't know. Their goaltending, yeah. I don't think Jari's going to play the first two games. Their defense, yeah.
Pretty mediocre, I would say.
This is really how do I describe this? This is an important time for Pittsburgh considering Malkin and Letang have contracts up after this year.
They're both UFAs, yeah.
Both UFAs.
Yep.
I think that's more of a priority. I mean, I don't know if you win the cup and you just say, yeah, you guys go do whatever you want. You guys won your cup with us, whatever.
Yeah. You gave us 4 cups. You can go get as much money as you want.
Yeah, you can go do your own thing. If they don't win the cup this year, I'm curious to see how that goes.
They're kind of like the Winnipeg. I don't want to say they're like the Winnipeg Jets because the Jets didn't make the playoffs.
They're like a better Jets. They're a better Winnipeg.
Arguably, yeah. And it's going to be because, again, they are going to kind of have to overhaul their roster a bit. I think Pittsburgh's arguably got one of the worst prospect pools in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
There's argument to be made there. And again, a lot of that's because they've gone on some great runs. They just have been, waiting, not waiting, but giving up first and, draft capital to go on the cup runs, which were successful. So kind of just works that way. And now that as you mentioned, Malcolm Letang, UFAs, and Crosby is starting to wind down a bit. You said it best. Like, who knows what's going to happen? But you're right. It is the Rangers series to lose, and the Rangers win in 6 games. And it's too bad Jari's not back for more because I think it might be a 7-game series if he's there healthy.
I got Rangers in 5. I think the Rangers, they have home ice. They win it at Madison Square Garden.
They do. Yeah, they do.
The Rangers are kind of ahead of schedule. The yes and no are ahead of schedule for where they thought they would be. But,
yes,
they should win. This is a series they should win. They are better. They are better than the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Agreed. Yep.
And I think they'll win it in 5.
Yep.
The 6th best series, which is, I think, better than the 6th best series. I think it's Carolina-Boston.
Okay.
And I know Freddie Anderson is not, I think, going to play in the first round, or at least he's going to miss the first couple of games. I don't know if Antti Raanta is completely healthy either. So that's an interesting situation brewing in Raleigh.
Yeah, no kidding.
But these two teams have playoff history.
Yep.
These two teams are really good. Carolina,
Oh,
Carolina is so good. Boston
dude,
is really good, and Boston's a playoff team. And this might be arguably my favorite coaching matchup in the entire first round.
interesting. Cassidy versus Brindamore. Yeah, that's actually a very good coaching matchup there. I'll give you that.
And I mean, I know that's a little bit tough when you have to when you resort to the coaching matchup, but a nerd like myself, I like a good coaching matchup. Um, hey, fun fact, I don't know if I sent you this or if I even saved it. According to Money Puck,
Yep.
one forward group, yeah, here it is here. One forward group this season had an expecting goals percentage. So that's when you're on the ice together, you expect to, score goals this amount of time, like percent of the time, right?
Sure. Yeah.
One line averaged over 70% expected goals percentage.
Okay.
Do you know what that line is?
I assume it's in this series. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Bergeron, Marchand, DeBrusque.
It is.
It is. Yeah. There you go.
That's
Interesting.
and the third best line in hockey this year,
Aho, Svechnikov, or
Marchand, Bergeron, Pasternak.
oh, really?
They had
interesting.
an expected goals percentage of 64.4%. DeBrusque, Bergeron, Marchand had 70.9% expected goals
That's absurd.
when on the ice.
That's very high.
Carolina's best line was Fost, Stahl, and Niederreiter with 61.6% expected goals.
And that's like their third line. Wow.
Expected goals percentage. This one has upset potential, I think, with Boston over Carolina.
Okay.
Because of it's the Bruins in the playoffs. It's the Boston Bruins in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point.
I think if I don't want to put the label of Carolina as being a regular season team, but Boston's definitely a playoff team.
They're definitely a playoff team. Yeah, that's very true. It's a good point. I don't think there's gonna be an upset at all. I think the Hurricanes are such a wagon, and there's too much of a wagon for the Bruins to handle, playoffs or not. Hurricanes in 5 is my pick.
Ooh.
They're like, I think at the start of the year I talked about the Hurricanes going on a cup run, getting to or close to the cup, and I'm gonna stick with it. I think they're gonna win. Again, I could look like an idiot for this one, or I could look like the smartest guy in the room, but I think they're gonna beat the Bruins. I think they're gonna beat the Rangers, and then it's gonna be a toss-up, pick 'em kind of series against the Panthers, or whoever gets there between
the other Atlantic teams.
Yeah, and then take your chances in Stanley Cup final. At that point, you never know. And with Brindamore as the coach, I think they're a very well coached team, and they have the talent to back it up. Assuming Frederik Andersen gets back for some part of the first round and the rest of the playoffs, they're going to be tough to beat, and the Bruins aren't going to do it. So maybe for one game, but not for the series.
I figured you would be on the Boston bandwagon a little bit with Hampus Lindholm.
Like a little bit, yeah. The Bruins, I'm not going to lie, the Bruins are a good team, and they have some very good, solid scoring, secondary and primary scoring. A good defense core. Lindholm really shores up that D core. Holy, are they nice. Again, there's no Rask, no Tim Thomas. Linus Ullmark is good. He's a solid middle tier goalie, but he's not. I think the Hurricanes are going to light him up.
You know who's going to be the MVP of this series?
Who is that?
Jeremy Swayman.
Yeah, right.
I'm like 75% convinced myself that Jeremy Swayman is going to be the guy for the Bruins in this
also
series.
a rookie, by the way.
Also a rookie. He's played pretty well for most of the year.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I like the Bruins. I like Boston. I'm gonna say the Bruins upset the Hurricanes in 6 games.
Wow.
And
I don't know that, dude. That's a hot take. I gotta say.
I'm willing. Here's the thing. I'm willing to look past second line Eric Holla for the Bruins goaltending. that I think it's better than Carolina's goaltending. If depending on who's there and who's healthy for Carolina.
Man, I don't know.
I think the Bruins do it. I think the Bruins pull
Assuming
it off.
Anderson's back, like he's a Vezina candidate this year, arguably. I don't think he's gonna win it, but he's up there. Dude, that's I respect the heat on that take, but like, man.
I think a healthy Olmark or Swayman.
I don't think there's a chance, but that's just me. Wow. Okay. Six.
I'm gonna say the Bruins at 6. You say Carolina in 5.
Carolina in 5. Yep.
Carolina has home ice advantage. Just throwing that out there. Yeah. That's gonna be a really fun series. So I think that was my pick. That was the 6th best series I think I had.
I get the next one.
So 7 and 8 is a good thing. I had these 2 series finishing 7th and 8th in my rankings.
And again, I'll go back to this. Had Nashville been playing Calgary, this whole pick'em would have been in a blender. But just because of it, I'm gonna go Edmonton, Los Angeles as my 7th pick. And I mean, I could really go either way here, but I think we're really, in all honesty, we're really looking forward to that second round matchup between
Dallas and LA.
Yeah, between Dallas. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dude, what a great series that'll be. No, it'll be fun to watch Dallas and LA on the golf course in a couple weeks. But no, Edmonton, LA is going to be my pick for this series, and it's like, again, the Oilers are going to win the series. They're going to win. They should win it in 5 at least, if not 4. When you have Drew Doughty injured, you're arguably your best defenseman, your best shutdown defenseman, if you will. It's going to be hard. It's hard to stop McDavid alone, but now you've got Draisaitl coming 1 and 2, and with how the Oilers have transformed that team into a hopeful first round winner, they should beat the Kings in 5 games.
It was already going to be hard enough for LA as it was with Doughty, and now without him.
Yeah, and as good as Kopitar and Danault are, I just don't think the Kings have enough scoring to combat what the Oilers are able to do on a given night. So I think unfortunately for the Kings, if they're going to win this series, they have to play a boring style of hockey that I don't think they're used to, and I don't think they want to play. No, I agree. And again, Jonathan Quick's been very good. And if he goes 2012, John Quick, all bets are off. If he steals 4 games, he steals 4 games. The Oilers lose in the first round again. But
it's kind of like rooting for, like 2012, 2011 Mike Smith, right? Like if
exactly, yeah, exactly. You just don't know. I think Quick's a great goalie, and he's had a wild resurgence this year. But there's nothing he can do with McDavid and Draisaitl ripping pucks by your head, left and right. So Oilers win this in 5. It's going to be fun to watch the second round series between the Oilers and insert team name here. But
we know that team name.
Well, you'll talk about them later. I'll let you talk about them.
So I have no idea. I think the Oilers are going to win this series, but I genuinely have no idea. The series just like reeks of chaos. Like this series just reeks of like between the goaltending, the defense.
Yeah.
You would think with Connor and Leon, hopefully they score like 8 goals between the two of them and just get the series over with.
Yeah, true.
And
it might only take 8 goals to beat the Kings. In every game we won. Yeah.
It honestly might. You're not wrong. I think Edmonton wins in 5. I have no idea. I genuinely have no clue. I just think it's just absolute chaos. The Kings will probably lose, and I think they should if they keep wearing those goddamn silver helmets.
Yeah. It's a good take, actually.
Those might be I don't know what's worse, the Vegas helmets or those helmets, but
I think the Vegas ones are worse. I just think they're both so No, the Kings ones are better. They're better, but they're not much better.
They're not good. I don't think either one of them are good.
No, I agree. Okay, yeah, fair. True. They're both not good.
Both not good. And I still am on the bandwagon that the Oilers need to be wearing like the old blue jerseys instead of this trying to push this orange bullshit or like that dark blue. Or like that newer, blue jersey with like the orange Oilers logo.
Yeah, it's like a darker navy, and it's
like
the instead of like the blacked out, it's like the blue out kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you just need to go back to the old school blue.
Yeah, I don't mind what they have now, but I think if they went back to their old like 1980s type of blue look, I think that would look really good.
I think it would look better, and I think it would look better, and I think that they would have a better chance of winning the cup if they went back to what Gretzky and everybody was wearing back then. You said Oilers in 5?
Oilers in 5, yeah.
Do we have any concerns for Mike Smith?
Nope. Not after finishing the season as hot as he did. And I think he's a playoff goalie. I think he really is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it should be a rule in the playoffs where we just get rid of the trapezoid. Like we keep it for the regular season, but we get rid of it for the playoffs. I think Mike Smith should be allowed to play the puck wherever he wants.
Wherever he wants, yeah.
Same with Jonathan Quick. I know Quick is, if I remember Quick, I haven't seen Quick as much, but Quick I think likes to play the puck quite a bit too.
A little bit. Not as much as other goalies in the league, but
not as much as Mike Smith, I'll tell you that much.
No, that's true.
So I guess there's one last first round series that we can talk about.
There is, yes.
And that is Nashville North, Calgary, taking on Dallas. I saw Dallas like on my birthday in November.
Yeah, right.
I cannot believe that team that I saw that gave up 6 goals to a Travis Green coach Canucks squad made the playoffs. Incredible.
Yeah, it was close. It was close for a bit. They were losing some big games down the stretch. I will say.
They tried to give it to Vegas. They tried to get Vegas in there.
They tried, and they even gave Vancouver a bit of an opening, but here we are.
I think I would rather see Vegas and Vancouver and Calgary is obviously like a better matchup geographically than Calgary-Dallas is. But I think just in terms of intrigue, I would rather see Vegas or Vancouver in the playoffs. I don't know if I go so far as to say I'd rather see Winnipeg, but I think I would rather see Vegas and Vancouver.
Or Vancouver. I agree.
So the Dallas Stars, do you know who their leading point scorer was this year?
Joe Pavelski. I didn't know that.
Pavelski.
It's Pavelski, yeah.
Do you know that he had 81 points this year? Do you know that Pavelski was like that short of like a point per game?
So he's 37 years old. He had his career high in points, and it was point per game. It's pretty good. On
this Dallas Stars team.
Okay. This is kind of what we're getting at, is that you're relying on a 37-year-old great player, don't get me wrong, but he's your leading scorer, and you've got Robertson, Hintz, Sagan, Ben, Heiskanen. You got all these guys, and a fucking 37-year-old is your leading scorer. It's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
Can you believe that this team made the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years ago?
Oh, I believe it. They got a hell of a goaltending performance, and the hell of a resurgence of Heiskanen plus a solid D-core helped a bit. And hey, can't sleep on Corey Perry, dude. Come on.
No.
Ian's sick of me talking about my Ducks.
Can I just here's Dallas. Here's how Dallas wins this series.
Bring it. How do they win? They don't, but how do they win?
They don't. They aren't. They're not going to. But here's how they do it if they possibly do. They have no fucking chance at winning at all. But here's how they could beat the Flames.
Sure. Sure. Let's hear it.
I think it's cliche, but stay out of the box. Don't give Calgary any extra opportunities that you don't have. Their top line is already so fucking good for Calgary. You don't need to give them an extra reason to be good.
Basically, power play whenever they're on the ice.
Yeah.
Gaudreau was what, plus 64?
He had like fucking 55 on 5 assists this year.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
The Dallas Stars had the fewest penalty minutes per game this season.
Oh, so there is a chance they could stay out of the box.
at 6.8, which is just not quite that nice, but almost nice.
Almost
at
nice, yeah.
At 6.8.
Yeah.
And that's almost 2.5 fewer penalty minutes per game than Calgary in the regular season.
Okay.
They also had the third fewest opponent penalty minutes per game. Their opponents average 7.3 penalty minutes. So they don't take penalties. They also don't really draw penalties either.
But I will say with the Stars, they're not like a explosively quick team or like a hard to handle physically. They're just kind of like, they're a solid team. I'm not gonna, shit on the Dallas Stars here. But to your point, there's no like an example would be like a guy like Draisaitl who gets dragged, like who drags people across the ice and takes, probably gets like a hooking call a game. Same with McDavid, you could argue that he gets like a holding call or some sort of like impedance infraction kind of thing. But yeah, you're right. The Stars, like, they are a clean team and they play a clean brand of hockey. They just, again, against a Flames team like this that's so deep, I would say 4 lines deep, three deep pairs that are all solid, and a arguably Vezina caliber goalie, like, they're not going to win the series, but staying out of the box might win them a game. Might.
Who's Dallas' shutdown? Is that Suter and Heiskanen, I guess, is their shutdown pair for that Calgary top line?
Heiskanen, Hakanpää, maybe. Heiskanen's going to eat like 30 minutes a game. He might have to.
Yeah.
He might have to if they want to have a chance. Because he's such a game breaker, and he doesn't get enough credit or enough loyalty and love that Makar, Yossi do. Or even like a guy like Quinn Hughes, just because he doesn't put up enough points. Yeah. He doesn't put up the same amount of points that these guys do.
But that's just Dallas' team. They don't they play so conservatively. They're such a defensive team, which I guess that could help them in this series. It's just by
trapping the Flames to oblivion. But again, here's the thing: is that the Flames do the exact same thing. Daryl Sutter coach
literally.
So it's gonna be dare I say, a trap meet, but it's gonna be kind of a boring series, not gonna lie. And the Flames are gonna win probably in 4 games because they're just that much better of a team. They're better coached, better goalie, more experienced goalie. Like, yeah, it's really hard for me to say that this Dallas Stars team has a chance because they don't. They don't really. And when you have a top line that all has 40 goals each, they each have 40 goals plus. And Heiskanen is great defenseman, don't get me wrong, but there's going to be points where he can't all do it himself. So, yeah.
Your boy Yanni Hakanpää might make a few appearances in this. This definitely seems like a series for him.
Yeah, he'll have to munch a lot of minutes too. And again, the Stars aren't hugely physical defensively, and they're going to get eaten alive by this Calgary forecheck. And these big physical forwards, Lucic.
Rope Hint is going to be fucking sick of Milan Lucic by the time they start game 3. Oh, and they get back to Dallas like, oh fuck, not this guy again.
Yeah. And again, in a Saddle Dome barn, that's like, this team's got some expectations to them. I think in Calgary's had some really good home crowds this year, and for good reason, because they have a good team. They're gonna go ballistic.
Well, and they probably changed restrictions sooner than they should have, so that's why they've had some better crowds too. Shout out our Albertan listeners, our Albertan friends of the pod.
Yep.
We're with you. I think we're bandwagoning for Calgary more than Edmonton. No.
I'm kind of both. I want to see a second round playoff series between the two.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
That's what I'm rooting for. I don't really care who wins that series. And again, that means that we get a Canadian team in the 3rd round at least, because we know the Leafs probably aren't getting past the 2nd round. So.
Yeah, so Canadian rank? There's only 3 Canadian playoff teams, and it's Toronto, Calgary, Toronto, Edmonton.
I would say that's probably the ranking. Yeah.
best odds to win the cup is probably Calgary, Toronto, Edmonton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. That's us previewing the first round. Who's your cup pick?
Whoa, dude, I don't know.
You notice how did you see today?
Sorry?
Did you see today people are like because now in today's world we have to do the NHL bracket challenge because March Madness just wasn't enough. And people are posting their brackets and it's just like, yeah, okay, cool.
Okay. Like everyone's picking the Avalanche or like everyone's picking the Panthers or one of the like top 14.
But well, then it's like people are like, ooh, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be an outsider and go with the Flames, as if the Flames aren't like fucking one of the best.
I don't know if the Flames are an outsider pick.
No, I don't think they are. They're like one of the two best teams in the Western Conference and being like, ooh, I'm feeling, spicy. I'm gonna go with the Flames.
Spicy today, yeah. No, the Flames are a solid pick. I'm gonna give you my actual Stanley Cup pick, and I'm also gonna give you a dark horse pick.
Okay, go for it.
So oh my gosh. The Carolina Hurricanes will win in 6 games, and they will beat the Calgary Flames.
You really caught yourself there. Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say Colorado, but I decided against it. And my dark horse pick is actually the Edmonton Oilers, and here's why.
Oh, boo.
No. We'll talk about it. I'm gonna give you a reason why the Oilers could beat the Flames. They could beat the Avalanche in lieu of this, and then they'll beat whoever they play in the East. Battle of Alberta, Calgary, Edmonton. You just never know. You really never know who's going to win the series. And somehow, magically, the Oilers will win in 7 games. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that because that's literally a pick'em series. I don't care who you are. Like, if Mike Smith can be at least half decent, it's a pick'em series. Anyways, the reason why they couldn't beat Colorado is that they have better center depth, better overall forward depth, arguably. And they're one of the few teams in the Western Conference that can skate with the Avalanche because the Avs aren't all that physical of a team. Right?
Did I play you and Shell at some point earlier this year with like Colorado and Edmonton?
No, that wasn't me.
Is that not you? Who was I playing with? Who I was getting absolutely just abused? Maybe it was Rav. I think maybe it was Rav I was playing with, and I was the Oilers. He was the Avs, and I just could not compete.
But is that a testament to how good Ravisher is, or how good the Avalanche is?
I think it's two things, and two things can be true at the same time. I think it's a testament to how not great the Oilers are and how bad I am at Shell.
Yeah. Okay. Who's your pick? Who are you picking? I have the Hurricanes in 6 games over the Flames, but we'll see.
I am gonna go with the Tampa Bay Lightning.
No way. Not
To
again.
battle the St. Louis Blues.
Oh, really? Oh man.
I think
first of all, I love it. That's a great pick.
Doesn't that feel like a finals matchup too?
Oh, I would love to watch. That'd be a great Stanley Cup final.
Because here's the thing. This is kind of my feelings towards the NHL.
Sure.
There's so much goddamn parity.
Yeah.
And last year, it was supposed to be, who was it again? We were supposed to get Colorado Tampa or Colorado Vegas last year, right?
Yeah.
Or Tampa Vegas or Tampa Colorado. Instead, you know what we all got instead?
Montreal Tampa.
The Montreal fucking Canadiens.
We got 2 Eastern Conference teams in the same Stanley Cup final. 2 teams in the same division for that matter.
Sure.
Division for that matter.
Sure. Oh yeah. And Tampa Bay deserved to be there. They're great team. Really, really talented.
Yep.
It's so fucking NHL to have Montreal make the finals last year. Because Montreal was like the 18th best team in the NHL last year.
That's right. Yep, they were.
And then the year before, Tampa Bay played Dallas.
Yeah.
And you remember what I was saying during that Stanley Cup run for the Stars?
They're going to win it next year.
No, I said they were shit. I said the Stars were shit.
You did say that. That is true. You were not.
They were not the best team in the Western Conference in 2020.
God, not a chance they weren't.
And even going back to like 2019, you know what? Fuck all that. When was the last time we had like two teams that were like the very best teams in the final? Boston, Chicago?
Washington, Vegas, I think.
Okay, but that was Vegas. That was Vegas, like as an expansion.
Yeah, kind of a fluky year.
When do we have two deserved teams in the finals that wasn't a fluke?
Los Angeles, New York, 2014, I think was the last legit final.
Okay.
And although the Kings were the better team, yes, the Rangers deserved to be there. They took down some giants in that playoff run.
So my point is, rarely ever in the NHL do we ever get the best teams playing each other in the finals.
Not often, no.
And some might say, well, Tampa Bay and St. Louis are really good. Sure.
They're not the best teams in the show. Not this year.
No, they aren't. And you know what? We both could look like idiots. I wouldn't be shocked if even like LA or Dallas went on like a Cinderella run and got all the way to like the conference finals, because that's just how the NHL works.
Yeah, I think you said it earlier though. I think the more likely Cinderella run teams aren't going to come out of the West; they're going to come out of the East, and one of them is going to be Boston, if there's any chance.
That was another team who I think like could be really good.
Yeah, so
I just have no clue. But I'll say Tampa Bay plays the Blues, and I'll say the Blues win in 7 games.
I like it. And the Blues will wait a second. I think the Blues will have home ice, so they'll win it on home ice. I'm pretty sure they do. Tampa Bay has by 1 point. Has home ice by 1 point.
Perfect. So, because let's go through the teams who we think can win the Cup this year.
Sure.
Florida, yes.
Yes, definitely.
Tampa, yes.
Yes.
Toronto, yes.
Yes. If there's any year the Leafs can do it, it's probably this year.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I say Boston, yes.
Yep. As a dark horse team, yes. They're not likely to win it, but
but I could see the Bruins getting hot right now. And
you would make a lot of money if they won a cup.
Yes. Carolina, yes.
Oh, 100%. Or my pick, but yeah.
Rangers in Pittsburgh.
It's just they're both a stretch. I don't think either of them gets past the Hurricanes, but if any team will do it, it's the Rangers.
Sure. I don't think either one of those teams are going to win the Cup this year.
No.
Washington, no. Colorado can win the Cup this year.
Easily. Oh, yeah.
Calgary can win the Cup this year.
Yep.
I don't think Edmonton can win the Cup this year.
I do. There's a reason to believe that they can. I don't think they're going to either, but there's a chance. Kind of like Boston. There's a chance.
I don't think so.
Okay.
St. Louis, Minnesota.
St. Louis, if anybody, but Minnesota, no. Not yet.
Yeah, okay. I think Minnesota is an interesting team, because I think Minnesota could also be a team that's like, we got to win it for Fleury.
Yeah.
We got to win it for Mark.
Yeah. We'll see.
And at Dallas and LA, I don't think they're going to win the Cup this year.
No, neither will Nashville. I don't think Nashville's going to. Well, Nashville won't get past the first round, but.
So what? That's 7 teams that we think out of the 16 that could win the Cup this year.
Yeah, six legit possible winners.
About half of the teams where we think there's some percentage of them.
Yeah.
Winning a Cup.
Exactly.
We'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, NHL playoffs.
It really is. It starts tomorrow.
And the nice part is like the first round is always the best round.
Oh, well, yeah, agreed. Yeah.
And because by the time they get to the finals, everybody's just so exhausted and just so done with hockey almost. It's like, yeah, no, we don't need that.
I don't know about that. I think the Stanley Cup final is always like
the finals, yes, but I think like what I'm trying to say is that everybody's injured, everybody's sore. The quality of play is not as good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think everybody wants to win the cup, but I think at the same time, like I think Weber and Price maybe last year were like, yeah, this hockey thing, this might be my last kick at the can. I think we might be done after this. This is maybe the last opportunity.
Yep.
Scott, final thoughts, final words, final hot takes, predictions that you might have for the playoffs.
Oof. I think I'm gonna hit us with a upset hot take.
Ooh.
And oof.
Troy Stecher leading Kings playoff scorer.
Yeah, right. Imagine you might have like 4 points in 4 games. Wow.
Boy toy Troy.
Yeah, there you go. My hot take's gonna be the Leafs are going to beat both Florida teams, both Tampa Bay and Florida, and then they're gonna lose to the Hurricanes. So kind of hot take. They're gonna win.
They're gonna get to the conference finals.
Yeah, that's my hot take. They won't just get past 1 round, they'll get past 2. And then lose to Carolina in 7 games. That's my hot take.
I think that's a good take, actually. Because, like, the nice thing about Leafs takes is that if you say them and they're wrong, you don't lose anything. You just,
whatever. You were just wrong. Like,
you're just wrong. But if you say a Leafs take and you hit it and you actually get it right, you look like a genius.
True. Yeah, because the Leafs tend to flounder in some situations like that we have coming up. But
yeah, when you think of playoff teams, you don't think of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Not yet. That might change this year. So we'll see.
Do I have a hot take? I kind of said mine with Tampa Bay, St. Louis in the finals.
Yeah, you did. And
you know what? I'm gonna say it's Calgary, St. Louis in the West. I'm gonna actually in the third round in the Western Finals. I'm gonna stamp my Biggie certified hot take stamp on that.
We gotta get you one of those. We actually do have to get you like a
stamp.
Yeah, it just says Big E hot take.
What about like those like grill mark things or whatever that you see them? I'm not country, so I don't know what it's actually called, but like you see like Jackass do it as like a challenge where like it's like a hot iron that they just stick on there.
You're getting branded.
Branded. Yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah, I don't know if you want that. That's
a little too much.
Yeah, that's a little too much. But a stamp would be good because at least a stamp can come off. A brand just kind of hurts.
Well, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it to myself. Like I would do it to like a block of wood or something like that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, that'd be fun.
There's potential. Yeah, I'll do Calgary, St. Louis in the West, and then Tampa, Carolina in the East Conference Finals.
That'd be a hell of a conference.
Actually, no, I said Boston. Sorry, excuse me. Can I do Tampa, Boston? Is that legal?
Yes, technically yes, it is because Boston is in the Metro bracket and the Capitals are in the Atlantic bracket. So yes,
this is just like March Madness in that none of the teams are in their proper brackets.
Well, just the wildcard teams, but yeah, like that's like saying Dallas is technically in the Pacific bracket this year.
Technically, Toronto isn't by the Atlantic.
True, but neither is Buffalo.
No,
but again,
that's true.
You can take a boat. Hey, this is the thing. You can technically take a boat from Toronto all the way to Tampa and to Sunrise. So technically,
can you take a boat all the way down? Like I guess there's a
St. Lawrence. Yeah, St. Lawrence. Yeah. Or it's Lake Ontario becomes St. Lawrence.
Oh, you're thinking about going out that way. I thought you were thinking like in the interior. Like there's a
not really. No, you'd have to portage a bit to the Mississippi, but
that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, it'd be tough. I think You have to portage a bit, but it is doable.
You could also make the argument that Edmonton and Calgary aren't really Pacific.
No, that's true because they're not in the Pacific time zone either.
No, and they're not near a fucking ocean.
They're near an ocean of oil. If that counts.
Boom, got them.
Boom, got them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's us getting political on the podcast. Is talking about geography and why teams aren't where they should be. Yeah. Why don't we just go back to just naming divisions after like players or significant NHL figures?
Yeah. Hey, that makes it really hard. But again, it makes it really hard for people to figure out where the fuck each division is. Because again, I think it was like either the Patrick division was like Toronto. I think Toronto and LA were in the same conference.
But that was also the fact that Toronto was in the Western Conference for like too much of its existence.
That's a problem in its own right. Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Where like if you have I know Gretzky played for the Rangers, but if you had the Pacific Division renamed the Gretzky Division.
I see. Because he played for a lot of the.
He played for Edmonton and LA.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You call the Central the trying to think of like notable players who played for like basically somebody has to like do the math of like players who have played for like the most teams in said division.
Right.
And then name that division after said player. Like I remember, I think I did an experiment, like not this start of this season, but last season, where I said we needed to rename the divisions after former players. And I think I came out to like a Ty Conklin division because Ty Conklin played for like Chicago, Detroit, and Pittsburgh or something like ridiculous like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so here I'll go back a little bit further. So I'll go back to 1990 when the Oilers won their last cup. Okay, so interesting. It changes a bit. Okay, so in the Norris division, which is what I would consider like the new Central Division, it's Chicago, St. Louis, Toronto, Minnesota, North Stars, and Detroit Red Wings.
The OG Minnesota.
The OG Minnesota, exactly. And then the Smythe division, which is the always famous Calgary Edmonton Wars, basically all through the 80s and 90s.
That was the old Pacific.
That's the old Pacific. So Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Los Angeles, and Vancouver. And then we've got the Adams division, which is the like, dare I say, like the Northeast division. Boston, Buffalo, Montreal, Hartford, and Quebec. And then
that's like nostalgia Ian being like, hell yeah, even though I never saw Hartford or Quebec play.
Right.
That's like, that has like, 90s, Budweiser, Crystal Pepsi vibes, that division.
That's funny. And then we've got our Patrick division. So that's like the new Metro kind of thing. Rangers, Devils, Capitals, Islanders, Penguins, and Flyers.
Yeah, so like, why don't we give Gretzky a division? I think whatever the Atlantic is now, you can just give that to.
I'd say either the Yzerman division or the
Alfredson. You call it the Alfredson because
you can't give it to a player from Ottawa. You can't do that.
That's fair.
No, you can't do that. Maybe we'll call it the Le Cavalier or the St. Louis division.
The St. Louis division, actually, and then within like Americans are like, why is it the St. Louis division and St. Louis isn't in it? It's like, no, you don't get it. You don't understand. It's the St. Louis division, and it's just like, no.
Yeah, that'd be great. And that way, Montreal head coach Martin St. Louis can play in his own division. It's great.
Do you know what's hilarious about that is the fact that Montreal like hired like he was literally like coaching Pee Wee before he was his son's Pee Wee or whatever. So the Habs literally hired a Pee Wee coach to coach the Habs.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I think with like the new Metro, you call that the Yager division because I'm pretty sure Yager played for like almost every notable Metro.
I think Yager played for every team except for
like Columbus and New Jersey. No, he played for. Did he play for New Jersey?
He played for New Jersey. Yeah, the only team he didn't play for Columbus, the Hurricanes, and I think the Islanders are the only teams he didn't play for.
Yeah. So you call the Metro the Yager. You call the Atlantic the St. Louis.
Yep.
You call the Pacific the Gretzky, and you call
Yep.
the Central the
That's a tougher one. But I would say
you call that the Marc-Andre Fleury division because he's played for Chicago and Minnesota. or you go Marian Hossa. You call it the Marian Hossa division since he technically was on Chicago and Arizona.
I would actually more go towards the Paul Kariya division. Because I think Kariya, he played for at least 3 of these teams.
So he played for St. Louis,
Dallas, and Nashville.
I'm
pretty sure he played for the Avalanche.
He didn't play for Winnipeg either, did he?
No, he didn't. You're thinking of the other Ducks legend, Solani.
That is
he
true.
Played for, yeah, the Central's a bit of a tougher one because some of these teams don't really have a long history, so it's hard. Like again, the Stars have only been most of these teams. The Jets, Nashville, Minnesota, and Dallas, and even Colorado have all been formed 1990 or later, technically. So you can almost call it the Sakic division, but that would only be for the Avalanche. So.
Well, and the thing is that you can't name it after because he's the GM, right? You can't name it after the current Avs GM.
Well, but we're doing that with St. Louis. We're doing that with.
I guess, yeah, that's fair.
So we could I think the Korea division is better because he covers more teams at least.
You know what? That's fair. I think we'll leave it at that for now. We'll call it the Gretzky is the Pacific, the Korea is the Central, the St. Louis the Atlantic, and then the Yager is the Metro. If you just hear us start randomly referring to those divisions as those names from now on, we're just don't be surprised.
It's our passive aggressive protest to the NHL to change the division names.
So yeah, so like next week if we pod, it's like so in the Gretzky, the Kings playing the Oilers. And then people are just like, what the fuck's the Gretzky? It's like, well, go listen to the podcast. Scott, this has been fun. I'm not sure what my schedule is for the next little bit here, but
highly variable, I think is the best way to explain it.
That's probably going to be that was the other title I had for my book was like, not great, but it'll do or something like that we talked about that. Put that on my tombstone. Not great, but he did the job.
No, your tombstone's gonna read "No Days Off." Even
all of our grad quote, that would be hilarious if like your grad quote had to be whatever's put on your tombstone.
Oh God, no! I would have changed my grad quote if that was the case.
Well, there's got to be somebody out there with like fuck bitches get money on their tombstone. That would be hilarious.
I don't think you're allowed to swear in your your grad quote. I don't think you can.
Didn't somebody post like a meme of like the periodic table, and like that's what it came out to.
Oh, that would be funny. I don't know if that's a thing, but
I'm gonna act like it's a thing. Scott and I will be back. We'll be doing some playoff stuff. We might be doing draft lottery stuff too, depending on what our schedule is. Basically, things are up in the air right now. We will provide further details as they come, whenever that is. Until then, thank you very much, Scott, for taking the time to do this. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back soon. Peace out.